Hi everyone. So who's hungry? Yeah, a few people. So in between now and lunch, you've got me talking to you a little bit about our user experience journey at Macmillan. So a few years ago, we thought about UX, we knew about it. Our agencies delivered wireframes, we did user testing, but we didn't really think about it too much. And I'm going to talk to you about our journey around it. So Macmillan is here to reach and improve the lives of everyone affected by cancer. So scary fact, 1 in 2 of us in this room is going to get cancer in our lifetime. Anyone born after 1965, you've got a 1 in 2 chance of getting cancer. Most of you, I think, looking around, born after 1965. So the good news is, though, is that we're not going to die from it. All of the great stuff that we've been doing and organisations like Cancer Research and things like that have been meaning that actually most of us are going to live with cancer. There's 2.5 million people living with cancer right now, and in 20 years' time, that's going to be 4.5 million. So Macmillan are here to help those people through almost their point of diagnosis, through into survivorship, or sometimes end of life. But it's a huge task, and we can't meet all those needs. So we also need to inspire millions of others to do the same. We need to get people to help donate to us, volunteer for us, train our nurses, etc., etc. So that's why we're here. So how do we at Macmillan measure our success? We measure it against these 9 outcomes. These are the things that people affected by cancer have said to us that they want to happen in their lives. And so it's interesting because they're all I statements. I was diagnosed earlier. I understand, so I make good decisions. So charities, in their nature, are actually really user-centred. So why is it that if we're really user-centred, we're not really using user experience in the way that we develop our products and services in the right way? Ooh. Sorry, don't meet Amrit just yet. Calm yourselves. So at Macmillan, 50% of our support interactions are through digital channels. So we quite often think of Macmillan as nurses, and only 20% of those interactions are from nurses. 50% are through our digital channels. So if more and more people are experiencing us in digital, what does that mean for our brand? What does that mean for our experiences? So guess what we're going to do now? We're going to meet Amrit. So Amrit is why we do what we do. And I'm just going to play you a short video that's going to explain why Amrit's important to us. So Amrit, I'll try and describe him for you, because use your imagination. This is on my hippocampus, sort of really working overload now. So Amrit is 20 years old. He's been diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. He's at university, he goes out, he doesn't really want to talk to nurses, and so he uses our information and support all the time. So, in some of our digital channels, we can really be able to make things really responsive to people's needs. This is an example of our social media. So we've trained most of our organisation to use social now, so we use that as a channel to support people. So this is Bellan. Bellan was just about to start day 1 of chemotherapy, and chemotherapy is really shit. And so she was really nervous about it. So she said, Macmillan Cancer should probably provide jugglers and jokers. And we were like, oh shit, we can't go and provide her a juggler. But what we can do is get as many people as possible within our social channels to send her jokes. So what we did is we just put out a call for Bellan and said, hey, Bellan's about to start chemotherapy. Please, can you help? And she got hundreds and hundreds of jokes. Some of them were pretty rubbish dad jokes, but all in all, she felt really supported. She felt that that was making her day better. And that's kind of what we're there for. We're here to help and support people affected by cancer. So we can do it in social quite well. We can really show our personality. But how do we make other areas of digital feel quite as relevant and insight-led as we do with social? So we do personas, and I'm sure everyone does personas. We've been doing personas for years and years and years, and we use these kind of tools to put audience at the centre of our project processes. But our personas are quite often around need-based, and Amrit's here. That's what Amrit looks like if you got to see his video. That's him there. So Amrit is involved, and that's the way he uses information. He's an information seeker who likes to be informed by his experiences in order to take control. And so we started using our personas in a different way around information-seeking behaviours so that we could make sure that the information that we were providing was fitting all of those different persona needs. But it's just not about the tools, it's about using them effectively. And so one of the first things we tried to do is to trial moving UX in-house. So for our website redesign project, we recruited a UX consultant to work with us, and this is where we started. So we built the team to do UX, UI, content, and front-end design. There are some challenges. You can see, most UXers in the room can see where there might be a challenge with the build agency there. We still use an external build agency. They had really waterfall processes. But we had immediate benefits of transparency and shared understanding. But then we had some challenges around, actually, we had to build all of our wireframes and all of our user experience, and then we had to give it off to the build agency. But nevertheless, we were getting there. So one of our challenges around the website redesign was to build a new navigation. So the challenge was that we had a huge volume of content, over 1,600 articles. And our IA was quite clear, but it was really, really deep. And we needed to make sure that we used the navigation for people like Anric to be able to dig deeper into the content because he really wanted to understand that. We also know that when people come to our website, they always search by cancer type first. The cancer type filter was really, really critical because that's the most important thing to all of our users. And then also, in today's world, it needed to be multi-channel. So this was our challenge, and some of the new ways of working that we'd built with bringing UX in-house was how we worked out to find those solutions. So first of all, collaborative exploration. We had all of the team together from day one, bringing different perspectives to the challenge. It wasn't a linear process where we'd do the design, we'd do the UX, we'd do the front-end build. Those teams sat together, worked together, and shared those challenges. And it meant that everyone was part of the creative process. They weren't necessarily just a stakeholder or recipient of it. Quite often, we don't think of our front-end team. They're the developers, they sit over there. They're not part of our creative process. And we brought all of those people together. So then we did guerrilla testing. We're a charity. We don't have loads of money. So we spent quite a lot of time just going out to coffee shops and trying to understand how people are using our navigation just through clickable models and drawings and things like that. So this particular one, we tried to see whether people would search for cancer types in our navigation. Following the talk earlier about accessibility, I was slightly concerned about our big, deep level navigation accessibility. Turns out we used Mensa to sort out accessibility, so that's all right. Phew, easy. That was a lucky text that I sent my team earlier. What about accessibility? Don't worry. So, phew. Yeah. Anyway, so we did a bit of guerrilla testing. We realised that didn't work, so we changed it again, and there we put the cancer types as a tab. People couldn't see the cancer types. So we did lots of iteration in coffee shops around London until we got to a version that we were comfortable to go live with. We like to iterate, but we do eventually have to go live with something. So therefore, we went live with this version. You can see there we've got the cancer type, and then someone's chosen breast cancer, and that's where the information is. So we went live with that. Then we actually did some more traditional usability testing, and we used organisations that can get us lots of different people in to understand how that navigation is used, and we used all of our tools available to us. We use Crazy Egg, we use all of our Google Analytics, we use our stats while that's live to see that happens. So then we iterate again. And this is our current navigation at the moment. The navigation is not in a tab, but it's across the page. And actually, this is working really, really well for us, and stats will tell us. But we're going to do it again in December, a bit more testing to understand. We might change it again. So that's kind of some of the work that we're doing around that. So we saw where the challenge was before. Build was just out there. So we started thinking, OK, we've brought UX in-house, but I think we're probably going to need to think about how do we bring build in-house. So some of our smaller projects, we've been experimenting with a proper multifunctional team and doing technical delivery in-house too. And that makes build part of the cycle, which we can tell because I've got a lovely diagram there, makes a huge amount of difference. So what does that mean for us? Well, this is a example of a project that we developed in-house. It's called My Macmillan. What it is our area where you can go and see all of your interactions with Macmillan. So we started with the vision. And we were really clear for the whole team about what is it that we need to do, what is the users, and we went out and tested that and did lots of things. Then we went live with release 1, which just had some small functionality. We call it a minimum viable product, but small functionality that allows users to save pages. But what that did is that going live with it and seeing how all of our users interacted with it meant that we actually were able to build the business case and the budget for the next iteration of what we did. And that's really important to charities because we have a lot of competing demands for our funds. And as much as we'd like to say, we're going to develop this and it's going to save the world, it's going to solve all of our problems, quite a lot of the time with digital it doesn't. So when we're doing these iterative releases, not only are we using lots of user testing to understand how users are using it, but we're proving the value of what we're doing. And that is really, really critical to us because every single penny and every single pound needs to be going towards people affected by cancer, not on vanity, exciting digital projects about who shouts the loudest, which I'm sure we've all had experience of. So then we iterate some more. We have release 2 and release 3, and this is where we are at the moment. So we also do, and I'm sure this video is not going to work either, but I'll pretend that it might work, a lot of video user testing. No, doesn't. Sad. Feel a little bit sorry for my lack of video ability. If anyone wants to see my videos, I might tweet them later because they are really cool. But anyway, we did a lot of video user testing, and this particular example is showing what would happen if in those registration steps in our iteration 1, those are all put together, and basically the person doesn't really like it. He says it's taking a little bit too long. But those videos we do are really cheap and really simple, don't take very long, they help us get to the heart of the customer. But more importantly, what they do is they help us share with all of our stakeholders internally about what people are saying. Because quite often we can say, oh, we've done this usability testing, we've done this iteration, we've done guerrilla testing, this is what people say. And people are like, yeah, you're just the designers, you're just the UX people, you tell us that, but how it is. So actually we put our videos up all over the place. We put it on our intranet, we put them on our TV screens, just so that people every day in the whole digital team and some of our stakeholders in fundraising and services, they see those too. So those videos are actually really part of the process as well as inspiring people around what we do. So that really helped our wider users understand users' behaviour. So back to Amric, who we all know really well now, even though we haven't seen him in action. He's our involved information seeker. So getting that navigation right for Amric meant that he's able to control his information seeking, and he's able to explore it to the level that he wants really quickly and really easy. And the work we did with the Macmillan accounts means that he's able to track his information and he's able to share it with his mum, who you would have met on the video. She's a really nice lady. She cooks really well. But she's also really concerned about her son, so he's able to use the Macmillan account to share and save that information. So all of that makes him feel much more in control and much better equipped to face this really shit thing called cancer. And that's kind of what we're here for at Macmillan. That's why we're here. So what we're able to do is we're able to map that straight back to our 9 outcomes of why we're here, what Macmillan's for, the brand. It's there so Amric can understand and make good decisions, and his mum is around him and is well supported. And so that's back to using UX and all of those techniques to why we're here. But then we use Amric more. We share his story on our website to help other people who are in the same situation feel less alone and understand the support that Amric got and helps him do what it is. And so that means that we're using real stories within our site because we all know that when you see real stories about people that are like you, it makes you feel more comfortable. And having cancer is a really, really emotional thing. And so emotion plays a huge part in the decisions that people are doing on our website. And so therefore, using Amric's story online will mean that more and more people feel more comfortable about it. But then if you remember, our mission wasn't just to reach and improve the lives of people affected by cancer, which these things were doing. It's also to inspire millions of others to do the same. So Amric, when he came to us for the first time for his information and support, got what he needed through all of those techniques that we've talked about, because we spent a lot of time thinking about people like Amric. But then he's giving back now. This is an example of the blog that he wrote on our online community, where he shared his cancer experience. Quite recently, he stood in a box for us in Paddington Station. We had an isolation box where we were really trying to get across the fact that no one should face cancer alone, and it's a really lonely thing. And Amric volunteered. We asked for volunteers to come and help us really show this, and Amric volunteered. And he holds coffee mornings, and he tweets for us, and he's inspiring others to help us and donate to us. So Amrit came to us as an information seeker, just trying to get a bit of information about his cancer. And look at now, he's helping us reach and inspire millions of other people. Around 70% of the people that donate to us because they had a great cancer experience. So if people donate to us because they got a great cancer experience and they're only seeing us online, user experience is absolutely critical to the path that we are able to take, both for our audiences, but also for us to do the kind of work we want to do as a charity. So, just to sum up, bringing UX in-house really, really works brilliantly for charities. As I say, we're all part of the user-centric world in a charity, so why are we not really thinking about it? We can listen and respond, like we do with social, when we're using UX much more and more, and we can iterate. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. So it's made a massive difference to all of us when we're putting everybody together. And we all talk about that, don't we? We talk about multifunctional teams all sitting together, and that quite often works really well in an agency environment. But how often do we do that in a client environment? How often do we put everybody together, from every single person in that project team, sitting together and working together? So we do that now, and it makes a really big difference. But it's also about collaborating with our audience too. Start small and iterate. I think a few other people have talked about iteration here, but really that really works for us, because then we can use all those techniques that we're employing to iterate, practice, see what happens, test and learn, etc. So start small, iterate, and then do some more iteration, because really, really, really important. And finally, especially with charities, but probably with every single member of your audience and the people you're trying to do, the people are real. And I think sometimes we sit in our offices and we forget that they're real people that you're talking to, with real emotions and real experiences. It's not just about the click of the button, it's what that makes people feel. And so if you tell their stories well, and they will inspire them to tell yours. So that's it. That's our Macmillan journey. Thank you so much for listening. I should have some time because
you've got loads of time.
Videos.
No, that was great. We put a link up to the video so you'll be able to see those technical things happen, like poor Wi-Fi. This is why we call it conferences. I really thought, I must say, I'm going to ask the first question, privilege, I suppose. I really like how you use social to engage with people in that way. I really like the fact that you're using digital in that way. I think that's brilliant. I was really inspired to hear that. Also, as a reflection in terms of what Pete said as well. So I thought it kind of, that kind of followed really well. I'm sure you had a bit of a conversation about that beforehand,
Pete and I never speak.
Of course, of course.
He's a horrible man.
But I mean, can you...
That's how you make someone with bipolar happy.
Yeah.
Just for the record, Pete's a very good friend of mine and I love him dearly. Okay. So I feel I can get away with it. He's not a stranger I only met this morning.
Yeah. Thankfully I'm British, I understand irony. But... Yeah, could you just explain a little bit more about, why you decided to sort of to use social in that way? Because I really think that that's truly a great way to sort of use social, and I would like to know more about that as a designer.
Okay, so I said earlier, 50% of our interactions, our services are done online, and we raise nearly a third of our income online. So really, in most organisations, if that was happening, 50% of your services, a third of your income, you'd think of yourself as a technology company, wouldn't you? I mean, or at least getting towards it. I'm sure Argos think of themselves more as a technology company, and it's probably... We're retail. So we don't at Macmillan. We think still think of ourselves as a nurses organisation. So part of my challenge is digital. I hate the word digital transformation. It sounds like you can wave your magic Harry Potter wand and it all fixes. But it's about embedding digital as part of everybody's jobs. Now, social is a channel that is just crying out for that. So every single person in Macmillan, whether they are office staff or nurses or financial advisors, speak to people and live the values and the brand of Macmillan every single day. And so social is the perfect channel for that. So what we did is we decided that actually we want to enable everybody in Macmillan to use social. So we trained everybody. We had some formal training, informal training, we got it put into people's objectives. We got the whole organisation to agree that everyone had it as part of their job, so it wasn't an extra bit of work that you needed to do. And then what we do is we send out every Friday an email called So Social that that shows everybody kind of the types of things that we want to talk about that week. So on Monday, we might want to talk about coffee morning. And so it means that everyone can talk about the same thing, the thing that's most important to Macmillan, in their own way, with their own voice, but using their social channels. We've also trained our nurses to answer social questions so that if you are asking the same... what used to happen is our social media team, if you'd asked a question about cancer on our Facebook page, they'd say, here's the page on the website, or phone this number after 8 o'clock. And it's like now those same nurses are answering the question. So what it's done is it's embedded social channel as our communication channel sort of for everything that we do. And it's fab. I suggest everyone do it.
Yeah,
that's a very long answer, wasn't it? But that's kind of...
I think you've gone well beyond the idea of, say, a social team. I think what you've just explained to me is how you create social as culture, which is digital first. So that's pretty impressive. We will talk more. I'm going to pick your brains. Okay. Who else would like to ask a question?
I have a quick one. It's kind of something that we've been talking about anyway. What's more difficult, convincing UX people and technology people and designers to come into a charity, or convincing a charity that they need to employ these people?
Oh, good question.
Good question. It's both, actually. Both have been really hard. Traditionally, in the charitable organisations, that we see agencies as the experts. So, and I totally believe in a blended model. I don't believe in bringing everything in-house because you need to make sure that you're getting the ideas from everywhere that you can. But actually, somehow, if an agency says something, it sort of means more than if someone in-house does it. So we've got a bit of a culture of that. I don't know if that's in lots of organisations. Definitely is in the charity world. So there was a bit of that. But nobody knows your customer and your brand and your values as well as the people that are in your team and your staff, because you live those values every single day in everything that you do. So once you start talking about it like that, about you're wanting to design your products and services around why you are here and why you are doing the job that you do, it becomes a much easier sell. So back to the question, do people want to come and work for charities? Well, we pay really rubbishly, so that's a little bit of a problem. So we need to sort of inspire your inner good. So we get a lot of people actually that have worked for evil agencies for many years and think, I don't want to do that. I don't want to help Shell anymore. I don't want to help these people. We want to come and do good. So I actually take advantage of that a lot. So I get a lot of really great people. So if anyone's having a bit of a midlife crisis, wants to save the world, come and work for me for a couple of years, and that's fine. Then you'll be okay. You can go back and earn loads of money later. So we do have to employ those techniques. But we also have some really great stories and inspiring people, and it's really great. A job's a job, but when you go home at night and know that the things you've done have made a difference to people affected by cancer, that's kind of cool, and you can't really bottle that. And so that's kind of one of the reasons we're able to get the great people that we do.
Any more questions? Okay, let's put our hands together for that inspiring talk.